They're judging everybody as being a racist, as being somebody who's out to get them out of our country, get them out. It's not that. It's not that. Don't stand there and judge me. Come and speak to me and let me put across what my point is. All we're trying to say is this is Britain as a multicultural society is wonderful. It's a wonderful place. Islam is a peaceful religion. You've got extremists and everything. You've got extremists in the EDL. You've got extremist Christians. You've got extremist Muslims. You've got extremists everywhere. What we're saying is we all need to get together and we need to make a change, because we've walked past today many different cultures, many different races and creeds. Not one person has said anything, done anything, but the press, the national press, will always make out the EDL. I don't say I'm a member of the EDL. I'm not. The press will make out that it's all racist, it's all violent. It's not. People need to realise that this gentleman who we're here today to pay respects to was killed in broad daylight in Britain by two extremists who were known. It doesn't matter if they're Islamic extremists, if they're Christian extremists, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what extremists they are. They've been killed by an extremist element in his own country. Now what we're saying is these people were known. They were known for 8 years by MI5, and the gentleman MP on television stood there and said, we can't watch all extremists all the time. Now it doesn't matter if you're Christian, like I say, it's not a race thing. If you're Christian, if you're Muslim, whatever. If these people are even 1% chance that they're extremists, either lock them up, question them, or get them out of the country. If they're not born in Britain, why are they here? Why? Get all our troops out of Afghanistan and Iraq. I believe that's far too political. Get them out, get them on our borders, looking after our people. And by our people, I mean British Muslims, British Christians, British Catholics. It's not a racist thing, and that's what it'll always be tarred as, and it's not. What's it going to take? Is it going to take a royal family member? Is it going to take a high-class politician's son or daughter to get killed in the middle of the street before something happens? All we want is a safer place for our children to grow up.
So you were saying that people with extremist views should be sent away, but some people would accuse the EDL. I know you're not an EDL member, but maybe you share some of their views.
Yeah.
That some people label that as extremism, and what? So you think different standards should apply to
no,
Islamic extremism?
It doesn't matter if you're Christian, if you're a Catholic, if you're Islamic. It doesn't matter what race or creed you are. Doesn't matter. Doesn't pose any difference whatsoever. Everyone is the same. If that person is posing a threat to somebody else, whether it be a Muslim person who gets killed in the middle of the street, whether it be a Christian person who gets killed in the middle of the street, if they're known and they're posing a threat, why are they here? Why are they not in prison? It doesn't make any sense. These people who are known walking around in broad daylight shooting a gentleman who was raising money for Help for Heroes, cutting his head off in the middle of the street, and these people are known. How is that allowed to happen? Doesn't make any sense.
So how would you deal with, say, a British Muslim who doesn't have the right to reside in any country besides Britain if he was to commit an act of terrorism?
If he's a known extremist, if he's standing on a street and he's preaching hatred towards his country, that's his choice. If he's British, it's his choice. If he wants that, that's fine. But if he's standing there preaching hatred and there's an even 1% chance that that person is going to harm another individual, then get him in prison. Get him in prison. Get him educated. Speak to these people and find out why they're so extreme. What is making them so extreme that they feel the need to stand there and preach hatred towards their own country? There's obviously a core reason for it, but everyone's straight away terrorists, terrorists, terrorists. If they're known, get them locked up. If they're not from Britain, get them out of the country. What they're doing now?
Where do you think the threshold is between freedom of expression and extremism? So if someone's making these threats, is that justified in locking them up?
To be honest with you, I just think there's a severe lack of common sense. People straight away will box it, extremism, fascism, fundamental, all these different fancy words that people come out with. It's just all nonsense. It's all words there to box things. It's not that simple. I'm not saying that it's going to be fixed overnight. I'm not saying that all extremism can be put in the same box. It can't. But people need to be educated. People need to learn and speak to each other. Like you say, you had the IRA. The IRA, that was an extremist element. You got obviously the Islamic extremist element. You've got all different types. I'm not saying extremist Islam, get all the Muslims out. That's just a ridiculous thing to say. Islam is a peaceful religion. It's a peaceful religion. There is an extremist element of Islam that are in this country that either need to be educated, need to find out what the core reason is why they're feeling this way and why they're preaching hatred, or if they're known, what are they doing walking the streets? The main idea of the EDL, it's called the English Defence League, and all they're saying is, this is England, it's always been England, and we still want it to be England, that's it. But you got people coming into the country who are trying to change it to the way they want it to be, and then they're throwing hatred towards everyone else in that country because they don't want to live their way.
When you say people, is it just Muslims you're talking about, or is it any cultures?
Mate, there's loads of different. It's easy to tar it. So people jump straight away on the Muslim bandwagon because, unfortunately, not all Muslims are terrorists, but lately all terrorists appear to be Muslims. Now, I know that a lot of Muslims are doing things because of what the British Army are doing out in Iraq, out in Afghanistan, and do you know what? I agree with them. It's disgusting. What are we doing out there? What are we doing? Why are we out there? Leave them to it. Leave them to it. Come back to our country. Now, that gentleman, that full video that gentleman done, after he'd done what he'd done to Mr. Rigby, he was saying that your government don't care about you. Saying your government don't care about you. Millions of Muslims die in my country every day. Well, not millions, but he's right. He's right. So what we need to do is get out of their country, get them out, give them no excuse then. And then if you don't want to live in this country, please feel free to leave. We're not making people stop here. We're not.